Okay, hello. This is post 1 of my vlog assignment for Anthropology 123A. I have my roommates here. We are currently on a road trip on the freeway, and we will be discussing Neanderthals. Specifically how there is a lack of evidence, perishable evidence about Neanderthals, and that can say a lot about their intelligence and the implications for what they were capable of relative to, say, Homo sapiens, which we know a lot about. But this is a very lax podcast. I'm just curious to know, okay, like, what do you guys know about Neanderthals? Just like anything.
Prehistoric humans.
I feel like the only thing that I really know about Neanderthals is the stuff that they portray in like books and movies to like kids and stuff.
I think it's the closest relative to humans, right? Like one of the closest, like, in time, I think.
Okay.
They were like huge, weren't they?
They had big skulls.
Like very large compared to us.
No, that's actually interesting.
They were similar to us.
They are similar to us, but Neanderthals, actually, like, if you look at the morphology, they're smaller than us.
Really?
Or not necessarily. I guess what I meant to say is they're more condensed.
Because they're all like hunched.
Because the huge thing is, compared to like the majority of the time Homo sapiens were alive, Neanderthals were like in a glacial period, or when it was colder.
Wait, Neanderthals and Homo sapiens existed in the same time period?
Yeah, they existed at the same time period.
So we're
where
not
do they come
ancestors.
From? What is their descent then?
So their descent,
Neanderthals are like animals, like I don't know. Like,
well, they come from the same line. They're both under the Homo genus. I think their official name is Homo neanderthalis.
Oh, and they're from Eurasia?
Well, like the origin, like the taxa or genus that comes beforehand, like it all comes from like Africa.
so it's like they're the same family, but not the same. Like, what is it? You remember you guys were talking about that one time?
Domain. No,
Oh yeah.
Dumb kings play chess and find great sand.
Yeah, that. So what are they the same as? But
The same
different?
Neanderthals? Genus, right?
Same genus as Homo
Same
sapiens?
species. No, same family. No, family. Dumb kings play sand and find great sand. Family, genus, species. So they're the same family, right?
Same.
No, they're the same genus.
Same genus,
not
different
different
species.
Okay.
Yeah.
That means we can't reproduce with Neanderthals.
I heard
No,
some
you can.
humans.
You
Some
can.
humans are
No,
part
I thought
Neanderthal. Like a lot of
species
some people, like in specific areas of the world, they have parts of Neanderthal blood.
Exactly.
I saw this
Okay,
TikTok.
So I
saw
thought the
this TikTok,
definition of
yeah.
a species was that they're different species because they can't like reproduce
that's the thing.
with viable offspring.
But isn't it physically possible, but it just causes like deficiencies?
Well, it's like a lion and tiger. Like they can make a liger, but then the liger can't reproduce.
But maybe
any further.
maybe because human blood, like some humans have such similar genes to Neanderthals. It might be
because it's
fine,
like
right?
the genes don't. Yeah.
Because like I heard people have part Neanderthal.
But we have.
Weren't we talking about that in our Scandinavian class? That like people from Norwegian, like Scandinavia, are like really
Part,
Neanderthalic or whatever.
No, so that's the huge thing is there's like a lot of, I would say, not debate, but like the thing about anthropology is their definition of what constitutes a species is very loose. Like it does not, like biology, it has to be they can interbreed a viable offspring. Anthropology, if they can create offspring or they can reproduce, like the line isn't super rigid. So there's people, like Sherry was saying, there's people who have like Neanderthal like DNA in a higher like quantity compared to like other people.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And like there's evidence even that they found of like fossils where like there was like likely or like highly possible interbreeding. So like they found in a cave before, like you literally found like a pinky bone or a bone from like the finger, and they couldn't tell what species it was because it had Neanderthal DNA, it had I'm pretty sure Homo sapien DNA, and what's it called? Denisovan. Denisovan is another.
I read this book. It's
Really
I forgot what it's
similar.
called. It's called Sapiens by that one guy. I haven't finished it, but it talks about this stuff.
Yeah. So there's a lot of like.
Wait, so then what makes the two species different?
Yeah. What differentiates them?
I think
Well, that's the thing. Some people consider Homo sapiens and Neanderthals like the same species, or Homo sapiens and Denisovans the same species. There's a whole thing. Have you ever heard of like the lumper versus splitter?
No. Isn't Neanderthal kind of just like a term given to like less developed like Homo sapiens? Like Neanderthals are just like the really prehistoric Homo sapiens?
I always thought that we were like they were our ancestors and we're like evolved versions of them. I thought like not that, or like whether or not they're different species, or like I didn't know we existed at the same time.
Oh,
Yeah.
we did. It diverged, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Eventually, they couldn't make it out.
I saw in the book I read at one point, like we mated with them back in the day.
Mhm.
So what happened?
Yeah. And I think we just split off.
That's like, no, it's like a big mystery. There's like a lot of books about it, like explaining how like we were the only ones that ended up staying, and like Neanderthals just went away. But yeah, there was a time where they call it contemporary with each other, which basically means like at the same time.
Yeah.
And like there's evidence that they even like were like in the same
Same little things.
same little environments, habitats. So it's very like, especially, and here's the thing I was going to talk about is like in the archaeological record, they only have to work with like bones and stone stuff. So anything that they have of like fibers or like anything made out of plants is completely gone.
Yeah.
So like
there's
a huge,
not really any way to confirm it. Or
it's just a giant guessing game of like, okay, this looks like they might have been together in the same spot. And then another thing is like you could have had a spot that had Neanderthals and they had stuff there, and then like 10,000 years later Homo sapien also used it. So then people are just confused. They're like, we don't know if they were actually here together or if it was like a separate thing.
That makes sense.
But I'm curious, what do you guys know about like their intelligence?
Oh yeah.
I feel like they'll be similar to humans, right? But I don't know.
Wait,
I
really?
thought it was like a lot lower. I don't know if it was because they have like smoother brains than us or smaller brains. It was something like that. But like, don't they have like lower intelligence levels?
I thought Neanderthals were like very, not like hunter-gatherer, but like very like
Prehistoric.
Like
prehistoric,
primitive?
violent, like Neanderthal. Like whenever I hear that word, I hear it used in more of like an adjective sense, not like a.
You know, like now, doesn't it like kind of equate to like hooligan?
Yeah, it's like like kind of uses a derogatory term, right?
Yeah.
Wait, do they have languages?
Okay, so here's the thing: is like
Like spoken language? Oh my god.
morphology wise, they did. Like Anisha was saying, I'm pretty sure what they have like smaller brains.
Yeah.
And like this isn't confirmed again because like they don't have brains from then to like work with, but like there's some like implication that they could have had like language or that kind of sense because they found like something about like the cranium and it's cast from like the Wernicke's and Broca's area.
Yeah.
So like there's some like implications that they could have had a language, but you know like they also had intelligence to have like they had flutes.
Flutes?
Okay.
Like there's evidence of a Neanderthal
Better than us.
flute
I can't
What
play
the-
a flute.
carved into like I think it was a bear's bone.
From what country?
From what country? Ooh, I forget. I have to
Wait, but okay. So if they had the flute, that means like obviously Wernicke and Broca's because they're like producing sound and like also like what is the word? Not understanding, but like they're hearing sound as well, right? But then how would that like how can they use that to like decide whether or not they had a spoken or like written language or anything? Because like there's no way to confirm or deny just because of the existence of those areas.
What would the purpose of a flute be for them if they did?
Well, that's what they're saying. Like, there's like an idea. I would say that they were on the brink of getting to what like Homo sapiens could do.
Imagine if there were two. Like, imagine if like to this day, like how crazy. Like, what if it's gonna be like racism, but like in terms of like speciesism? If you know what I mean? Like, imagine if there's like multiple species of humans living. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's the huge thing about it. Wait,
I'm so confused about like how like so I'm assuming we all have a common ancestor like the Neanderthals and Homo sapiens, right?
Mhm.
So like what happened? Like why are they so different?
That's
If we have like our like DNA is so similar, and then
that's a cool part.
where we were in like similar like environments and we were literally interbreeding.
Well,
Why are we different?
The
Like,
thing about environments is Neanderthals like lived in a time like if you look at the general pattern of climates, it's been like off and on of like cold period and a warm period.
I just have this understanding of Neanderthals as like big, like physical, not people, but like, you know what I mean? Like big, violent, very like just aggressive and like low, like very hunter-gatherer, I guess I would say.
yeah, like impulsive or like lack of like awareness.
But I'm pretty sure humans back in the day
Within
were kind of like that
violence.
too, right? Just because we evolved like more after that.
Yeah. But what is like the definition of a Neanderthal?
It's like a different species. It's like a species.
It's like, yeah.
Right? Because like humans, like we're like our own species.
Well, but there's a different like scientific or I guess anthropological definition than there is like a colloquial definition of it.
Yeah.
Right. Neanderthal. Let's see
But-
what it is.
Genuinely speaking, what they'll say of Neanderthals is because they lived in that colder, like obviously you know how like temperature can vary on location,
Uh-huh.
but overall they've found that there's a pattern, even from like millions of years back, where it's like cold time period and like warm
Sorry.
time period.
Sorry, podcast.
No, you're good.
Hold on.
And so basically because it was cold, like they found like your body, like genuinely, there's like these principles where they're like, if you're in a colder environment, your body tends to be like more condensed because you want minimal surface area, because like the more surface area you have, like the cooler you can get, and like they want to stay warm.
Oh, is that why those like what are those people in like the really big ice, like in Norway or some country, they have like really big like ice people? I forgot what they call it. Like they just like huge people.
Vikings?
Like, no, but like they're tall and they're just like really like big. I don't know. Always-
Yeah, and that they even their chest, like the ribs orientation, is more barrel shaped.
Okay, wait. The definition of Neanderthal, like
According to
colloquially,
Yeah.
according to the Oxford Dictionary, is an uncivilized, unintelligent, or uncouth person.
That's what
Or-
I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because uncouth means like not socially civilized, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
violent kind of sort of.
And I think that's like a huge part of like what a lot of archaeologists kind of trying to like deconstruct, because like there obviously is evidence that like they were doing like potentially like cannibalism and stuff like that, but they really, compared to Homo sapiens, especially like what Sherry was saying, like early Homo sapiens, is like it's not that their behavior was super erratic or like crazy, you know what I'm saying? And obviously I'm sure you guys know it's like media depictions is like, oh, Neanderthals, like they're crazy, but like I guess a lot of what the evidence is saying and what I've been seeing in my projects especially is like they've had a lot, like they knew how to twist fibers to make rope and stuff.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm like confused about. It's like, where does the media like get their description from? Like, why is that the I guess like,
Well, that's the huge problem, is like no one has solid evidence of like here, like there's no full garment of Neanderthal clothing that has ever been found, not that I know of at least, because like it's all rotten away, it's all perishable, and like that's the whole thing, is like media people, like if they want to construct a movie, like they're gonna like add in clothes because they're like, well, why won't you add in clothes? But like nobody actually has evidence of like what it looked like, what it did. But I mean, there's evidence that they could have had it, and like there's fibers, and that they had like wooden spears and they could like attack big animals.
Also, I feel like because I don't say extinct, because they went extinct so long ago, like that was what then, like they didn't evolve like more to like us now.
Exactly, yeah. But that's what I'm saying. And there's some Neanderthals where it's like their morphology looks very similar to humans, and it's like an average person would probably be like, oh, these are the same.
yeah, a lot of like Northern European people have like similar like really large facial features. I also like remember learning that they have like jaws that are way bigger than ours are now, and it's because they were like on a fully like carnivorous diet.
Yeah, we learned about this.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Because
about
of
the
the
cannibalism
climate that
thing,
they were
but
in.
Yeah, I mean, and the cannibalism thing is like, it wasn't all of them, obviously.
yeah.
And as they because like some of the plants they were eating were like really fibery, because this came before they like had like the idea of agriculture and like what is it, like domestic farming, planting, like that wasn't necessarily fully constructed. And that's a whole thing too. It's like they don't know that for sure, because like how would you know if it's all rotten and it's gone away, it's perishable.
So is the main study of like where we get this like information from just through the study of bones, basically?
Bones and stones.
Bones and stones.
So they have evidence that they knew how to like cut rocks.
Okay.
Like well, what they do is they take this thing called a core, which is like a big block of flint stone. They take another stone, probably flint, and they kind of like chop it in a specific way called
Oh, I actually think I've seen about this before, and then it's like creates there's the actual cutout is called something, and you can see the like different layers or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they try to get like these flakes. They call it Mousterian technology, blah blah blah. I think it's like a French term, but they knew how to like do these things. And there's even some like it's not confirmed, but like there's some like evidence of like they knew how to do like art.
What?
Like draw that. Obviously, all like the art pictures you see of like on the caves and stuff that comes from like early Homo sapiens. But there's some evidence of like them. Like I think there's one cave. They can't date it for sure because like dating obviously is like really hard to do accurately. But like they could have possibly been doing art like that as well. And like obviously the flute's a really big one to me, like
Yeah,
at least
that's
because
really
I'm like
cool.
I wouldn't expect that. I didn't
can't
expect
play the
that.
flute.
I can't play the
Yeah.
flute either. But yeah, what was I gonna say? Because they were in that cold period, there's also like you know how like when air's colder, there's like less ability for oxygen to be there.
Yeah.
So like that their nostrils potentially were a lot bigger,
Oh
or like
yeah, they have really like large noses, right?
Yeah,
that's
because-
what the large facial features.
to give it to give themselves more time to warm up the air before it went into their lungs, and to give them more space for air because there's less oxygen in it.
Oh wait, what's this picture?
This is kind of a dumb question.
Uh-huh.
Were cavemen Neanderthals, or were they Homo sapiens? Or what
Well,
was
yeah,
the
that's
big
what caveman is like a loose. Is
Yeah,
like
like-
yeah,
Because
but
I
like
don't really know what that refers to. Like, I mean, obviously men that live in caves, I guess, but like.
yeah. So caveman, I would say, is like Neanderthals, early Homo sapiens, even before Neanderthals.
Maybe even after.
Yeah, after like
'Cause the
caveman's
way-
a very like
Yeah, because like in general, the way that like cavemen are like portrayed in the media, except for like the Flintstones, they don't really have like a language. They like grunt and make noises and
Yeah.
stuff, which is why like that's interesting.
And the whole thing of prehistory is defined as the study of prehistory is history before there's a written record.
Yeah.
So there's really no kind of
Well,
it's a big
what are like drawings on like stones and caves and stuff? Is that considered a written history?
no, because I think they mean like language and like
Okay.
not necessarily words, but you know like hieroglyphics, like that's
Yeah.
I'm not sure actually if that's for sure, but I would
I
say
think hieroglyphics is written history.
yeah,
That's a
that's
language.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, so hopefully this was an interesting and somewhat like informative, and hopefully now you guys kind of would you guys say like compared to what you thought beforehand, like you'd say Neanderthals, the picture of them is a little more clear to you,
Yeah, I
and
feel like
Yeah,
I think
for
they're
sure.
We're a lot more similar.
Smarter, like we're the similar